Morning to everyone at Jan and Awaaz. And speaking on the constitution is always charges your energy. But before I begin speaking on the constitutional values and the judiciary, I want to start with an incident. Recently, the Modi government has published a coffee table book of the constitution, which is a facsimile reproduction of the original constitution, where Constituent Assembly members have signed. So it contains their signature and the pictures around and the calligraphy in which it is written. So it has really cost them fortune. And this was presented to all the dignitaries in the Delhi and around, more particularly to the judges also. Now, what is important is the first page of the constitution, which they have printed, is the original constitution, where there is a difference between the present constitution and the original constitution that was enacted in 1950. The words socialism and secularism is missing in the original constitution because those two words were added to the preamble only in 1976 by an amendment. And after the amendment, every political party has been asked to have a bylaws incorporating that they believe in socialism and secularism. And even BJP party is having in their bylaws of the registered society these two words, which mean they can't avoid using these two words, and they were bound to have, otherwise their registration will be cancelled by the Election Commission. Now, when they publish a new constitution, they never want to say what is the development subsequent to the new constitution. Even though India was considered always be a secular country and also a socialist pattern society, because the entire part 4 of the constitution is all over written the commitment that the Indian state will have to the downtrodden and the Harijan masses of this country. Now, when they published the old facsimile edition of the old constitution, what do they try to say? Why do they spend so much money? This is the lip service many of them are doing now. While swearing on the constitution, they do the opposite. And that is what is happening. And the judiciary is no exception, because at the time entry into the higher office of the judiciary, we take a oath that will uphold the constitution without fear or favor, without ill will. But what really happens is not what the oath we have taken while entering the office. Now, last 2-3 years shows a dismal picture on the performance of the judiciary, because some of the crucial issues are either decided contrary to the constitutional spirit, or they refuse to decide any matters, and many of the matters are still hanging there without any decision making. So the first commitment that the judges or the judiciary have to the people of this country is that they should deliver judgment without delay. Justice delayed is justice denied. And secondly, should be a commitment to the constitution. In fact, Justice V.R. Krishnaiyer, who's my role model in the judiciary, always used to say we should have a committed judges. And then the word committed has become a dirty word, because people think commitment means commitment to the ruling party. That is not the issue. The commitment which Justice Iyer referred to is a commitment to the constitution and the constitutional values and the constitutional spirit, which is now very much lacking. That is one important issue. Secondly, crucial issues that, apart from the economic well-being and the social well-being of the people, the direction which this country should take forward is the main issue in a pluralistic society with multi-religious options and linguistic choice of the people. The country should need a pluralistic approach and not a monolith approach. You cannot have a one dimension in matters of country's policy making. And therefore, to say that it is one nation and one language and everything is one is really making appear that it is a one-dimensional picture which they are trying to give. Therefore, the crucial issues which came in the last few years before the court, some of them may be religious, some of them may be economic, some of them may be political. But in all these issues, The direction which the courts have now taken gives little concern for the common people, for the people who love in democracy, people who love in secularism, people who believe in socialism. There is a lot of disappointment that it is not the job of the judiciary to align with the policies of the ruling party. On the contrary, under Article 13 of the Constitution, it is the judiciary which will have to examine each piece of legislation, whether it is a law or an act or a rule or a regulation, whether it is in conformity with the fundamental rights of the constitutional rights provided under Part 3 of the Constitution, which scrutiny is slowly getting eroded. When the provisions of the Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 was amended after a series of recommendations made by NHRC and several other agencies, where they found this act was not adequate to safeguard the rights of the SCs, STs. The Supreme Court did not have any hesitation to strike down or read down into the law something which is never contemplated and to work the opposite way. Fortunately, the public agitation had taken the parliament to amend and restore the original position, thereby indirectly overruling the decision given by the Supreme Court. Normally, the law does not permit the legislative bodies to overrule, but what they can do is to take out the basis of the judgment. And therefore, the original laws come back thanks to Parliament's proactive role and thanks to the people's resistance. Now, it is the same resistance, it is the same opposition, it is the same protest that made the government now to withdraw the, at least announcement to withdraw the Farm Acts, the Agriculture Acts. And therefore, one thing which they've made it very clear is that without the people's cooperation and without people's participation, none of the anti-people decisions, none of the anti-people laws will ever go out of the statute book or the legal judicial work. And therefore, the last 3 years' experience has also shown that matters concerning the vital issues of the governance, including the Citizenship Act, which has seen so much protest from Shaheen Bagh to Melapalayam in Tamil Nadu and Calicut in Kerala, people have started united on issues which they may not directly concern as an economic issue, but they do consider that it is their role which is important in the structural formation of this state and the pluralistic face of the state. And therefore, this country saw a huge protest and people coming from different walks of life to sit together for days together to protest on issues which may not give them the bread, but which they give them the dignity and self-respect with which our leaders fought for the freedom of this country and established a democratic republic in this country, which cannot be taken away by few inward-looking fundamentalists of this country. And therefore, the 3 years of the constitutional implementation by the courts, when it became disappointing or dilatory, I would only say, even in the Agriculture Act agitation, the courts, instead of examining the law with the speed in which it is required, appointed a committee and later asked the protesters that they should think of not protesting when the court is seized of the matter. Why would ever people protest continuously? It's not their liking, it is not their choice. But the courts, when they fail to deliver decisions, it is for the people to urge upon, come forward, to force the judiciary to take a decision. But in this case, fortunately, without waiting for a court verdict, the government of the day has now come forward to announce that they will withdraw. Maybe their considerations may be elsewhere, their consideration may be collateral, but nevertheless, it is the people's unity and the judges delaying matters, which is one victory for them. I think this determination and resolution of the people will ever make the judiciary more vigilant, and they should be answerable to the people in some way. It is not only the legislative bodies which are answerable to the people, It is also judiciary which is answerable to the people. Today, the problem of the people of Kashmir, the problem of restructuring the Kashmir assembly, restoring the assembly, and the release of the hundreds of detainees under the public safety laws, the detention of the many intellectuals under the so-called Unlawful Activities Prevention Act without any bail for the last 3 years. There are many more issues. It's not as if the issues are lacking, but what is lacking is a determination by the judiciary to render justice in accordance with the constitution and in accordance with the oath taken by them at the time of entering the office. Is there not a question that who are they afraid of, or who are they not afraid of? Either way, they should come out openly to decide. What is important is to decide cases in accordance with law. They cannot say that I'm dealing with this case, I'm going here, going there, alternative dispute resolution, and so many other cliches which they may talk about. But the fundamental issues raised before the court, which are pending consideration, are not taken up, and the constitutional benches have not been formed, and more number of judges are not taken in for reducing the backlog. All these issues are still continuing. But if you are going to say that the judiciary is a watchdog of the people's right, and the judiciary has been empowered to be a body which can scrutinize every decision of the government and decide whether they are in accordance with the laws, whether they are in accordance with the constitutional values. I think this is essentially their job, not going around the country giving, pontificating and giving lectures all over. But what is important is the solid work. And I would always appeal to the brother and sister members of the judiciary that people are looking forward for certain amount of responsibility on the part of the judiciary. And I think they should discharge their duties in accordance with law and the speed in which it should be delivered. Thank you.